Hey everyone, I finished watching the next VR Troopers episode, Defending Darkheart Part 1. This is a really good episode. I'm so glad VR Troopers improved from the first batch of episodes, because I was really getting sick of it. I was kind of getting frustrated, thinking that, oh great, now I gotta go through like 80-some episodes of pretty dull stuff, but it's ramping up really well. Like, the crew really learned a lot from that first batch of episodes, like what works and what doesn't work, it seems. It's really improved, like, in every aspect. There's still a few weird things, and I'll talk about that later. So it begins with the troopers are going jogging and rock climbing, and Percy invites himself along for some reason. Don't really know why. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who likes physical exertion. Like, he's doesn't look like he's in super bad shape or anything, but yeah, I don't, whatever. Moving on, the troopers see a bunch of Grimlord's monsters training on the other side of a hill, and they don't want to risk fighting them all at once. Meanwhile, in virtual reality, Decimator reveals to Grimlord, let's see, okay, no, he reveals to the audience what's going on, why all the monsters are in reality. They're competing for the chance to battle the troopers in Grimlord's next scheme, because just sending all of them at once doesn't do it. Moving on. Anyway, Darkheart is looking to be the winner. And my notes really messed this up here. Just a second. Okay, there. Man, the touchscreen is really weird. So anyway, the troopers are about to head to the lab, but then they're attacked by Skugs. They fight off the Skugs, and they go to find Jeb and Percy. They're fine. Percy's up a tree and insists on staying there. Don't really know why he wants to stay up the tree, but whatever. So anyway, the troopers are like, should we leave him behind? What if Skugs come by? And then they're like, they wouldn't attack him. He's no threat to them. So then they decide to just leave Percy there, but then Percy sees a snake, and he's like, oh crap, I probably should get out of the tree. And then, meanwhile, at the lab, they're analyzing a scan JB took of the monsters training. And in the scan, they can somehow detect that one of the monsters gives off a DNA reading, meaning that they're not a mutant or a robot, they're human. Who could it be, though? Then, virtual reality, Darkheart accepts the final challenge and succeeds. Grimlord orders him to destroy Ryan's steel. That's it? I thought maybe there was some kind of special, like, requirement or something that was the reason why he was going through this competition thing. Whatever. So anyway, the troopers, now that they know that one of the mutants is human, they're trying to figure out who it is, and in a clever idea, they go down to the newspaper and they go through missing person reports. Makes sense. That's a clever idea. So anyway, they're going through, and then Ryan wonders if possibly it could be his father who's the mutant. He's the only person that they know for sure has gone to virtual reality. That night, Ryan sees Darkheart in a nightmare, and he won't fight back for fear that Darkheart is his father. And this is really weird, because at this point, the troopers don't know Darkheart is the one mutant specifically who gave off a human DNA signature. So, I kind of wonder if some parts of this episode might have been a little bit out of order or something, or some events were swapped around. Also, oddly, like, it's night. They haven't gone back for Percy. Percy presumably is still up the tree overnight. Doesn't he have, like, parents or something? Or what about the mayor and his wife? Aren't they, like, taking care of him or something? Whatever. Moving on. The next day, Ryan can't focus on karate training. He's too focused on that nightmare he had. He tells the others about it, and just then Professor Hart alerts the troopers that he's located a mutant, and it's the same one with the human DNA signature. Ryan goes alone to face them, not wanting them to think that they were being challenged in case it was his father. He doesn't want to antagonize them. Darkheart fires at Ryan. Ryan doesn't fight back. Percy is, indeed, still up the tree, but he's climbing down out of the tree. He sees Darkheart and Ryan engaged in, like, a little motorcycle firefight thing. Whatever you'd call that. He snaps some photos, and just then he's kidnapped by Skugs. JB and Caitlin go to rescue him. Ryan's able to knock Darkheart's weapon away, and he demands to know who he is. Darkheart only acknowledges that, "I am a mutant, I am a loyal soldier of Grimlord." And then, instead of, fighting back at all, he just insists Ryan execute him for losing. Okay. Ryan refuses and walks away, and I love Darkheart here, yelling after Ryan, "You must destroy me!" Okay. Like, he's walking away now. You could just grab your weapon and shoot him in the back. I think this is supposed to be a clue that, there is good in him, that he was not going to fight back against Ryan when Ryan's back is turned or something. Maybe that was unintentional, but that's kind of how it comes off as. Moving on. JB and Caitlin are looking for Percy, and they just narrowly miss him. And interesting thing, for the first time, I think, in all of VR Troopers, we get to see what an actual break in the reality barrier looks like. For all the talk that the reality barrier gets in previous episodes, we never really get to see it, or get much of a feeling for what it even is. So it's a swirling yellow vortex that makes a crackling noise. It's fine. So anyway, the Skugs toss Percy in. JB and Caitlin find the vortex, they go through, and they find Percy on the other side in some kind of brick stone building. And then they turn and they see Grimlord. They're in Grimlord's lair, and then suddenly spikes come out of the wall and start closing in on them. And then Darkheart returns to Grimlord, and Grimlord forgets about JB, Caitlin, and Percy for a while, I guess. And Darkheart is sentenced to execution for failing to destroy Ryan's Steel. He was in a previous episode before. Didn't he fail then, technically? Why didn't he execute the monster then? What? So anyway, Hart tells Ryan that he's lost contact with the other troopers. Ryan uses the VR visor to scan virtual reality and sees Darkheart being led to execution. He wants to go stop it, but Hart tells him you have to find JB and Caitlin first. And that's where the episode ends. This is a really intense start to the first multi-parter since VR Troopers premiere. Everything works and flows really well. Nothing feels padded for time. This episode is really tight. It really works well. And also, Percy is handled well, which is a rarity for this series. It's not the best he's handled. I don't know why he wants to stay up the tree. There's an awkward bit where he tells the troopers that there's a wild animal in the bushes. It turns out to be Jeb. I don't really know what's going on there. I feel like the antagonistic relationship between Percy and Jeb is a bit forced here. Whatever. Also, it's kind of weird Percy stays up the tree apparently overnight. Darkheart's an intriguing character. In his previous appearance, he was just another minion. Nothing really stood out about him. So it's kind of surprising they would bring him back in such a big way. It seems like if they were planning this from the beginning, they might have tried to pepper in more appearances from him. I don't know if this was being done the same way Power Rangers was, where they didn't have the whole series available from the start, where in Power Rangers, what they would do is the Sentai footage would come over in small batches. They'd have a group of episodes, they'd adapt those, then they'd get more episodes. They didn't know what the outcome was going to be. They might know some vague outlines of the direction the show's going to go in, but they wouldn't know exactly what they would have to work with. And I'm wondering if this was the same way. Did Darkheart, they didn't know he was going to come back later, and that's why he's just gone for 30 episodes in between this and his previous appearance? I don't know. Or maybe they did plan for this, and that was an attempt at trying to pepper him into the show, but it just didn't pan out the way they wanted. Who knows? Oh yeah, Ryan's nightmare is weird. How does he know Darkheart's the next mutant that he's going to be fighting? That never gets any explanation. Oh yeah, one of the things I liked is the Skugs interacting with Percy. That's really rare to see the Skugs actually interacting with characters outside the Troopers. Also, it's rare to see Percy actually be important to the plot. Very rare. And So yeah, Percy's handled really well here. Definitely one of his best appearances, despite him being kind of an idiot at times. Um, oh, and I really like being able to see the reality barrier for, I think, the first time in the show. That's a cool thing to happen. The tension in this ramps up perfectly. Really good. Really looking forward to the next couple of parts to this series. I know how it ends. I've seen the whole thing before, but my mind's kind of fuzzy on the details, so it'll be really interesting to go deeper into it and analyze it really closely this time. So that's about it for this one. It's a really good episode. There's not a whole lot to talk about outside of some of the things in it. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.